hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I put together 18 of my favorite spring Dollar Tree DIYs for you in a little compilation video, and I hope you get some fun crafting inspiration. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to use 2 of these little easels from the Dollar Tree. I used to have a hard time finding these at the Dollar Tree, but I've been finding them a lot more frequently. And I wanted to put the 2 of these together to make a little porch swing decoration for spring. Now, honestly, you could probably use this for summer or anything, but we're going to build it for spring and decorate it for spring, but I'm going to leave it where I can, switch it up for different seasons if I want to. So it has like the easel thing. If you pull it around the backwards, it's going to leave like the little shelf for the easel is still going to be there, which I kind of want to leave in place because it's going to provide some structure for the frame. Now I thought about just putting like one on top of the other, the little legs, if you know what I mean. Now, when I kind of put that together like that, the only problem is since one is then higher than the other, it's going to be kind of at an angle. As you can see, it kind of slopes down if I do it that way. So I'm only going to use one of the legs to connect the 2 pieces together and just remove the other piece, which we end up using for this DIY anyway. So I'm just going to take the little wing nut off and remove the screw. And then we can just take that existing leg from the other easel and bring it through to screw it in. But first I kind of need to drill a hole in it so that I can put a screw through there. So I'm just going to put like a wood block here underneath and use my drill to drill a hole in there. That way it'll be easier to screw that in and I won't have to worry about splitting the wood or anything like that. So just a matter of lining it back up. I'm going to do it like this, where the 2 little ledges for the easel, like little shelves, are pointing inwards, but it doesn't really matter. I do end up using those when I decorate the little porch swing. This turned out so cute. I think you guys are really going to love it. And I saw somebody make one similar to this, I think, using the easels. I saw a picture, I think, last year. And I've been wanting to make one ever since. I can't remember where I saw it. I think I saw maybe a picture on Facebook or something like that. But I'm so glad I finally did. So I put the screw in there and the wing nut, tightening both sides, and we have the perfect structure for a porch swing. It looks just like the structure of a porch swing. I thought about staining it or painting it, but I kind of like it like the raw wood look like that. So I'm just going to leave it like that, but you can always do yours however you would like. Now I'm going to use these little wood pallets, coasters from the Dollar Tree to make the porch swing. I thought they looked great because they have like the slats on there. They're about the right size. So we're going to need a total of 4. Now, if you like put them, together in an L shape, you can just leave it like that, but I thought I wanted the seat part of my swing to be a little bit shorter to kind of make it look more like a bench. And so I'm just going to cut it off right about there with my saw, but again, if you wanted to use it intact or you didn't have access to a saw, you totally could do that, but that's how much I cut off each one just to make the seat part shorter. And then I'm going to sit it like that, sitting it on top of the back. I thought about using the extra pieces for the sides of the swing, but they were a little too big, so I decided to use that extra piece from the easels is going to work way better. So it is time to put our little porch swing together, and I'm going to leave this raw wood too, so it'll go with the porch swing that we've created so far, and it really reminds me of a porch swing, but it would be really cute if you wanted to stain it as well. So I just use hot glue and I glue the 2 pieces of the back together. And then that's what it looks like. I'm going to leave the slatted part up top. And then I was trying to decide if I wanted the bench to be on there like that or if I wanted it to have like a more finished edge. I'm going to go ahead and glue those 2 together as well, just with hot glue. And this is where I was trying to decide how I wanted it to put together. I decided I kind of liked it like that better with the longer piece of wood on the outside, kind of how the back of the bench is. So it's kind of technically upside down right now. So I'm going to glue all of those posts to it. Try to keep it square, like a 90-degree angle. And we have like the body of our porch swing. Wasn't that easy? Now it's just a matter of putting the arms on. So this is what we're at right now. And I'm going to use that extra piece that we had from the top of, or from the easel that we didn't need. And I'm going to use that, I'm going to cut that down into 4 pieces to make little sides for the side of our porch swing. I love building miniature stuff like that. I think it's so much fun. I did like a popsicle stick and Dollar Tree wood picnic table last year for one of my tier trays. So fun. And so I cut off a piece just as long as the seat, like that. And then I'll need to cut another piece down for the bottom. So I cut a total of 4 pieces out of that little thing. I decided I better not just eyeball it. And I took that to my saw, and we have 4 pieces now. If you didn't want to use that, you could always use those little like craft squares like that, or the little Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree would work great. Just sanding those down, and now it's time to put these together. So I have the taller part, if you can't tell, the taller part, the full piece is on the back, making like a high bench seat. And the shorter part that I cut down is the bottom of the swing. So I just attached the 2 smaller pieces with hot glue on the corners. And then we can attach the larger pieces on top. I've been having so much fun with these spring DIYs. They're really, really fun. And I hope you guys have enjoyed them. Today, these are really, really cute ones. My family really got a kick out of them. So I just glued that to the back and to the top of that little piece we already glued down. As you can see, just a simple L shape. Looks like the side of a porch swing. Porch swings remind me of when I was a kid. We always lived in a small town with a front porch. We always had a porch swing, and we'd sit out there for hours because, you know, there was no internet. And so we got the other side attached, and it's looking pretty good. I don't think it really needs anything else. We just need to hang it on the porch swing structure. Now you could get really creative with this, especially if you're going to use outside. They have like the, you know, the plant hanger chains. You could use that. I thought about that, but I didn't really have any. So I'm just going to use twine. I'm going to make mine super easy. That way I don't have to worry about like eye hooks or anything like that. I'm just going to simply tie it on because it's not going to be very heavy. And just take that twine and run it up over the top of the structure, and then just attach that to the back of the swing. And, you know, for what I'm going to use this for, this is totally strong enough, and it kind of looks springy as well. It looks kind of like a rope. So I just hot glued that to the top of the back of the swing. You're not going to be able to really see it back there. And then trim that off. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just making sure that when I glue it on there that I get it nice and level so that the swing is going to sit right. And you know, even though I didn't use chains or anything like that, you can still swing this. It's super functional and cute. So just gluing on this side. And this is the basic structure of the little porch swing. It's so cute. You could decorate this for spring or summer, really anything. This would look great outside on your porch as well. So cute. I'm just going to kind of burn off the fuzzies on the twine, just using a lighter. And now comes the fun part. We can decorate this. So we need somebody to lay on it, right? So I got one of these little laying down frogs from the Dollar Tree. Absolutely adorable. And he's the perfect size. Look, he is going to lay on our little porch swing for spring. Now I thought he needed a few spring pillows to kind of brighten it up. So I found this great like flower fabric at the Dollar Tree, and I thought we could make some very simple little like no-sew pillows. So I'm just gonna cut out some fabric. And look at our little frog over there just swinging away. He's enjoying himself. And I'm just gonna cut down, I have it kind of doubled up. I wanna cut down 2 pillows, just about the right size for this little guy. At first I was going to do like a rectangle like that, but I decided it might be a little too big, so I do kind of cut them down more into squares. And this is gonna be just a super easy pillow. I'm just going to hot glue down the sides, leaving one side open so that I can stuff it. And I always have like an old bed pillow. I always save our old bed pillows and stuff like that. So I always have like a source of polyfill for crafting. And so that is what I'm going to use to stuff it. But you could stuff it with really anything. They're so small. Now this one I have to do 3 sides to glue down because the other one was kind of at a seam. I only had to do 2 sides because one side was still attached. Just leaving that one side open. It's just going to be big enough for me to get a little bit of stuffing in there and make some little spring pillows. This was so much fun. This is, I did like kind of 2 like kind of small miniature scale projects today, and they were just so much fun to put together. So not much fluff fits in there, but I'm going to try to fill them up pretty good. If you have any, like if you're getting any little strings coming off there, you can just trim them up, of course, because it's not sewn or anything like that. It could look a little rough, but you can cut it up to make it pretty good, look pretty good. So we have our 2 little spring pillows, perfect for our little frog who's relaxing. And I thought those were really cute, but I thought, you know, he needed much more spring decorations to kind of make this look like a spring DIY. So we're gonna kind of decorate the whole little swing. Isn't he cute? I love him just sitting there without a care in the world. I want to be him. Can I be him? So I thought flower pots would be perfect. We have those little shelves on the sides, and they have these little teeny tiny flower pots for in the spring section at Dollar Tree. And then I also wanted to do a flower. So I thought it would be really pretty to take some like pink flowers from the Dollar Tree, some small ones there, and some of this green floral wire from the Dollar Tree, and just kind of string that along the top of the porch swing, kind of like, you know, like a little arbor or something like that, to make it look like it's all growing with flowers. But I'm just gonna wire it on, so if I wanted to remove this later, if I wanted to change, you know, the look of it for seasons or whatever, I can always easily remove it. So I just cut down all of the flowers off that little flower arrangement from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to start with the green floral wire. I was excited to find this at Dollar Tree because it's going to match in with the green stems. You're not going to be able to see it. And then I'm just going to kind of alternate kind of randomly which way I'm going to attach these to kind of make it look like it's cascading down the top of this. So just kind of cutting off a piece so I can kind of get it around there easily without interfering with anything, and trying to kind of avoid where I put the twine because I don't want to mess up the hanging of that little porch swing. And gonna go all the way across, trying to make sure that I don't mess him up. I kind of keep him straight in there. And that one little sprig of pink flowers was the perfect amount to go all the way across the top. Now, since I have those little ledges that we left at the bottom where the easel would hold up artwork or whatever, they even have little ledges on there. So I think they're perfect for those flower pots. And I got a package of 3 there, but I'm going to use a total of 4. I had 1 left over from one of my other spring DIY videos that I did last week. And so I have 2 big ones and 2 small ones. Now you could leave them natural wood like that, but I wanted them to look nice and springy. And the color scheme that I've been using for all my spring DIYs is like this light turquoise color and like pink or salmon. So I mixed turquoise together with white to give me this beautiful light turquoise color. And I'm just going to simply paint the outside of all of these little flower pots. And you can get creative with this. You could do like different colors. These are just the perfect size. You know, I used these on that tier tray that I did in my spring video, And then I used them on me, so I was out of them again. So I just picked more up because I think they're so cute. Because I think they would be really good like legs for like risers and stuff too. They're just so versatile. So cute. So we got all 4 painted that light turquoise color. I also painted the tops. You're not going to be able to see inside, so I think that's going to work. And now we just need to fill them with flowers. So I just picked like some arrangements from the Dollar Tree that have like little tiny flowers. I've been trying to use that a lot lately. I think they're really versatile. I have so many big Dollar Tree flowers. Sometimes it's fun to craft with these little tiny ones. And trying to keep in my color scheme too of like pinks. So I just start trimming off some of the flowers, but leaving some of the stem in there. I was thinking we can just glue them in. It's not going to require any foam or anything like that because these little flower pots are so tiny. So I did like the pink and yellow, the pink and the white, and just put a dot of hot glue in the bottom and then stick the little plastic stems down in that. And easy peasy, you have a little flower pot. So cute. I wanted to kind of alternate what kind of flowers were in each one. So I'm going to do the larger pot in the back. The smaller pot, I'm just going to fill with some white flowers and some of these light pink flowers in that pot. And then some of the pink and yellow ones on this one on the other side. And I'm not going to glue these pots to the side because, again, I want to be able to switch this out. But if you were going to use it outside, you would definitely want to glue or secure these down. But I'm just going to kind of sit these on the little shelves to decorate. And he is ready for spring. Check him out. Doesn't he look cute and relaxed for spring? And this is how he turned out. Our little frog relaxing in the little porch swing, ready for spring. I love him. And I tried to go in and include full shots for you, Karen, so hopefully that will help you if you screenshot. Okay, are you ready for another DIY? We're going to use one of these, I guess they're like the plant rollers. They're like the tray that you put underneath your pot that you can roll it around. It's got little wheels on it, but I thought it was a nice shallow dish. It would be the perfect little fairy garden. So that's what we're going to make. You could use this indoor or outdoor. I haven't really decided. I think I might use mine indoor. They have it in lots of different colors, but I didn't really like any of the colors they have. So I'm going to do my own thing and kind of paint the inside and top that light turquoise color. That way it's going to coordinate well with all my other spring DIYs. Just doing the top part. I'm not going to do like all the underneath part because it's going to be filled and you won't be able to see it, but just the sides and the top with that light turquoise color. And I'm also going to use this little gnome from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, he's already that color, but he's like super glossy. And none of the rest of the items that I'm using today for the fairy garden are glossy. So I thought while I have that color of paint, I'll just go ahead and paint his hat as well. That way, it'll give that nice matte appearance. It's going to kind of blend him in better with everybody else. But he was almost the perfect color, so super easy. I love those little gnomes from the Dollar Tree. I think they're so cute. I think I have them. I have them in so many different colors too. So he's super cute. I'm just going to leave him like that, let him dry. Then I'm going to flip the little pot over and use that salmon color that I've been using in my spring DIYs to do the sides. And again, I'm not going to worry about the bottom or anything or anywhere you're not going to be able to see. Now going over that dark green, I did find that I had to go over with a couple coats to get good coverage of that. But I really like that, that I chose to paint it. They do have some lighter colors like tan that might be easier to paint over. Originally, I was just going to leave it green, but I decided to get a little bit creative with it. So just going over it again, making sure that I got really good coverage. And this even rolls around. My son thought this was so fun. I might have to have him put one together himself because he thought it was just so great. I have never done a fairy garden before. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if you have. I had so much fun making this. So we're going to start off with potting soil. I'm just going to use whatever I have left over in a pot of something I probably killed. And I'm just going to dump that in there. Now, as you can see, it was like old potting soil. It was like super dried out. It's been sitting in my garage, but It was the perfect amount, I think, to fill in for what I wanted to do. You don't have to use potting soil or soil, but I thought it would kind of be a nice touch. So I'm just going to kind of mist it down with the spray bottle so I can work with it a little bit better. Now I'm going to use reindeer moss to kind of make it look mossy in our little fairy garden. And whenever I buy this at the Dollar Tree, I try to like make sure it's almost like moist, if you know what I mean, if you bought this, because sometimes it's really dried out in the packages. And you can feel just by touching the package. And when it's real brittle like that, I find you can't work with it very well. But when it's a little bit moist like this, you can kind of mold it to kind of wherever you want. Now, I don't want to cover up all the soil. I want some of that to be visible in there. And then I got this little mushroom like fairy garden house at the Dollar Tree. I think it's so cute. It is painted so well. You know, normally those fairy garden things at the Dollar Tree are very hit and miss, like on the paint jobs on them. But they've really stepped it up because these look really nice. And it was a nice, you know, like matte color. And I thought that would be the perfect little house there for our fairy garden. So we're just going to put him back here. And his like kind of back and side yard is covered with moss. And then I also found these little mushrooms at the fairy garden section. Some of the fairy garden stuff is like really small. I'm not going real small with any of my things today, but these were a great size. There's a red one, a yellow one, and a blue one. And I love them. I think we can use all of them. And then I thought these little wood slices, these are new items from the Dollar Tree. I love them. Would be perfect little stepping stones to the house for our little fairy garden. Look how cute they are. They're perfect. So I just kind of pushed like 4 down into the soil, forming a little path. And then we can't forget our little gnome. He's a little big compared to the size of that house, but I think we can get away with it. And then I'm just going to kind of scatter the little mushrooms here and there around the yard. And really, the sky's the limit with this. You can use about anything. I wanted mine to look a little bit natural, so I got some of these stones from the Dollar Tree. And I thought we could do some like gravelly areas in the yard, just by grouping some together, just to give another natural element and to kind of mix it up a little bit. Vary the landscape. So like maybe some here next to his house, like a little gravel area here. I'm not going to use the whole bag, but just some. And I really love the stepping stones. I think that is so cool. I love those wood discs. How cute are those? I also have some of these like little wood stems from the Dollar Tree. And they're a natural element. Their scale is really kind of good. So I thought I would just do kind of a pile of logs back here. Nothing crazy. Just another little natural element from the Dollar Tree for a little fairy garden. And I can't believe I've never made one of these before. I really, really had fun with it. Now for greenery, I thought we could use some of these like little green plastic like fern plants that I have from the Dollar Tree. Kind of have these left over from another project. I'm just going to kind of cut them down and kind of stick those into the potting soil like straight up, kind of looking like some wild ferns growing out of the ground. And kind of scatter those all over. And it's a super forgiving project because you can't really mess this up. It's basically all your taste. If you try something and you don't really like it, you can always go in and move it around. Now we want to decorate it for spring. It can't just be a fairy garden. I wanted this to be a spring DIY. So again, using some of the smaller flowers. These are the same like pink and yellow flowers that we just used in the flower pots for the porch swing. And some pink ones, and I'm just cutting them down to like, you know, one of their little pieces has like 1 or 2 flowers on them, and just kind of randomly scattering those around, just stabbing that down into the potting soil until they stand up. Just kind of alternating those same colors we used before, the pinks, the whites. And I really like pink for spring, or that salmon color. I think it's really pretty. And I think the contrast with that turquoise blue that I use pretty much blue for everything, you know, look really good together. And then I decided I wanted a little bit more height, so I picked up some of this greenery from the Dollar Tree as well. It's a little taller, but it's also kind of fern-like. And I'm going to kind of put that around some areas just to give it a little bit more height. If you had like some fake trees or anything like that from the fairy garden section or any other items, like a wishing well or a bridge or anything like that, that would be so cute as well. But I don't really have a lot of pieces that I'm working with today, but we're going to get it pretty good and full here. And I really like the size of this container. It's perfect. You can use this in your spring decor on a shelf or a table. Look how cute this is. You could even use this outside. I love it. It was so much fun. And it actually lasted all year. I displayed this outside of my home. Okay, the next DIY is super easy. I really like this idea and I like the simplicity of it, but we're gonna start with one of these vases from the Dollar Tree, and I wanted it to be like a blue vase for spring, but I kind of wanted that glossy exterior on the outside, so we're gonna try painting it on the inside. Now I'm going to mix together turquoise and white to get that same light turquoise color that we've been using, but I'm also going to mix in water to make it thinner because I want to be able to spread it around. And I've painted stuff like glasses and stuff like that from the inside as well, but I've never done anything this big. Like this vase is pretty big. So I thought I mixed up enough paint. I was a little shy, but we're going to make it work. So I'm just kind of scooping all of that paint into the bottom of the vase, and then just swirling it around the inside. I got to like that spot and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna have enough paint. And it was kind of a custom shade that I had mixed up together. So I was like, okay, let's see what I can scoop out from here. And that's what I do. Try to get as much paint in there as I can. And you want to put something underneath of it for the paint to come out on. As you can see, I got pretty good, all like but one little section here. So I'm just using a paintbrush and trying to go in and give a pretty even coat to the missing section. Now, this is the part that requires a little patience because then you've got to let it dry. I want it to be that solid turquoise color, so I'm going to sit it aside on some paper towels to let it dry. And I actually just went on and did another project and came back to it so that it would be good and dry and we could work with it. So I just set it on paper towels like that, kind of let it drip out. I'm going to clean up any paint that came on the outside of it. And this worked pretty well. I really love that color. I think it's so pretty. What I want to do is to do a floral arrangement with this, with butterflies. I thought that would be so pretty for spring. So I'm just making sure it's completely dry by using a little heat in there too, because you don't want to mess it up at this point. Now these are the flowers we're going to use, the baby breath from the Dollar Tree. It's a real tiny white baby breath, and we're going to use all of these because this is a pretty big vase and I want it to be rather full. I find that baby breath kind of like sticks together, as you can see there. So I'm just kind of separating it out. Prepare for a little bit of a mess with this stuff because it does like kind of fall off, that like flocking that's on there when you're working with it. And you know, I thought I had 3 of these, but I actually had 4, but I'm going to go ahead and use all 4 because it's going to make it really nice and full. I want to put the little butterflies on there. And as you can see, I have some onion grass there with some pink butterflies, and I thought that would be perfect. Make it look like they are landing on the baby's breath. So this is what we've got so far. Our beautiful vase that we DIY'd, full of white baby's breath. And I really like the simplicity and colors on this because we're just going to use that turquoise, the white, and the pink. So this little plant has 4 little butterflies on there. They're so cute. And they're on like little flower stems. I'll just save the onion grass, I'm sure, for a Easter project. I use that a lot for Easter. So I'm just going to put some glue on the end of like the flower and kind of just glue that down into place on the baby's breath, like little butterflies have landed on it. So pretty. And I was trying to find butterflies to use. They have like butterfly stickers and different things like that, but most of the things I could find at the Dollar Tree didn't have like colored bottoms. They were all kind of plain, and I thought they would look kind of fake in this kind of application, but these worked out perfectly. And they have these in all different colors too. And that's all there is to it. This spring DIY was so easy. It just took a little time for the paint to dry inside the vase, but this is how it turned out. Our little baby breath vase with butterflies. It's so cute. I'm going to have to try that paint method again for the inside of glass. It was easier than I thought it would be. Hey guys, I'd like to take a minute to tell you about our private Facebook group. I always have a link below. I also have a Facebook page I'm really active on. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest as well, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, you ready to get into more crafting? I'm going to make a little flower box for spring. So I'm going to use one of these welcome signs from the Dollar Tree, some craft wood, also from the Dollar Tree, and some of these great new long signs they have at the Dollar Tree. I thought I bet two were the same. They're a little bit different colors, if you notice that. I don't know if it's just, if they're different colors or, you know, sometimes just different finishes look a little bit different. Not sure, but we're going to make it work. And they have these like in black and brown and this light wood. Super cute. And I thought they'd be the perfect size for a flower box. So just removing the hanger off of both of those signs with the staples and the stickers on the back. And then I thought we could use some of this craft wood for the sides of our little flower box. So I got 2 pieces of those. That craft wood at the Dollar Tree, you'll notice that one side is nice and smooth and really you can paint it, stain it, whatever. The other side is all kind of furry, so you have a good side and a bad side. So I start planning how I'm going to lay that out. That's when I noticed they were a little bit different colors, but one's going to be on the front, one's going to be on the back. I don't think you're going to be able to tell they're different. But I kind of like that natural wood feel. You know, we left the porch swing natural wood. So, you know, I think I'm going to leave this natural wood, the sides and all. But when I put the sides on, I decided that my flower box was going to be too big for the amount of flowers that I had to craft with. So I decided to just try to maybe cut one of those in half and make a skinnier box. So we're only going to use one piece of the square craft wood. So just finding the center of that, I'm going to just run that over to my saw. I've had some of you guys ask what kind of saw I use. I actually went to, I think it was Home Depot, and bought a Ryobi miter saw, and I love it. It's one that you like pull down to cut, and then you can slide it forward if you're going to cut something larger. I use it all of the time because I hate sawing stuff. Now I'm just going to attach that with hot glue. As you can see, we got them cut in half. Just trying to keep that square like a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to do that with the other half on the other side. And I kind of like this size better because it's going to be more versatile. I can kind of fit it in more areas. But if you wanted to do the full size box, you definitely could. Now we're just going to attach the front here of our box with hot glue on both of those sides. And I don't really have anything planned to use for the bottom, but we're going to need to put something in the bottom to kind of keep the flowers in there. We're going to have floral foam and flowers. It's not going to be very heavy, but we just kind of needed something down there. So I decided actually to use one of these like flexible cutting mats from the Dollar Tree. I thought that would be easy to cut and lightweight, but it was going to kind of serve the purpose. Not quite long enough, so I'm going to cut like a strip, and then we'll have to cut another piece to fill it in all the way. I'm trying to cut it wide enough, but not too wide because I don't want it like sticking out at all from the sides. And then we can just attach that to the bottom. I love working with this stuff. You know, they make it those mattes and colors as well. I use these all the time for different things. So just doing a bead of hot glue around the 3 sides that this one's going to touch. And just simply gluing that on the bottom. A very easy bottom, and it's functional. It worked. A lot easier than cutting wood down and getting everything to the right size. And so the smaller piece we just used there on the side, just overlapping a little bit. And you'll never be able to see that from the front because it's nice and skinny and flat down there. Now for the front of our little flower box. I thought this would be perfect. It's just the right size. Fits on that front sign perfectly. I don't need the hanger though, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. It's stapled onto the back. And they have the cutest like raw wood garden spring things at the Dollar Tree. I just love it. I think they have a lot of new items this year with spring. So I want that same like turquoise color that we've been using. So I mixed turquoise and white together. And we're going to paint the welcome sign that turquoise color. I think it's so cute that the L is like little garden boots. Isn't that adorable? I'm going to go ahead and paint it all. The little plant right there and the little rake are both like raised pieces that are on top. But I'm just going to go ahead and paint them all because it's kind of inevitable at that point. But then I can go back and paint those a different color. So I do use a smaller brush to get in all like the nooks and crannies that were around there to keep the paint from pooling anywhere. And then I don't want this to be super colorful. I didn't want to add pink or anything like that. So I'm just going to use ivory and a small brush and just carefully paint our little flower pot and our little rake there to the side, just to kind of give a contrast against that. And then I want to use like for the box, I'm going to bring in like that salmon pink color with my flowers. I'm going to do like a salmon pink color and like white flowers. So it's going to go with my color scheme that we've been using this year with all of these spring DIYs. And if you haven't seen them, I do have 2 previous spring DIY videos this year. And I like the way that's looking. And I kind of distressed it a little bit on the letters as well because I like that look. And then I'm just using hot glue, kind of spacing it out a little bit to secure this sign to the front of the flower box. See how perfectly that fits on that sign? If you wanted just to make a sign with that, this would work perfect as well. But sometimes I like my signs to be functional like this, so it's a full-on flower box. So that's what it looks like at that point. And now we can just fill this in with flowers for spring. The box is almost exact same width as the floral foam that you get at the Dollar Tree. I like getting the long pieces and you can kind of cut them down to size. So that one fits in there perfectly, as you can see on its side. This one I did need to cut down a little bit. And it's super easy to cut. Now, the only thing I was thinking is that, it's pretty, deep. And so I don't want my foam to be way down there because I'll have to use tons of filler to fill it up. So I'm just going to toss a couple wood blocks from the Dollar Tree down below. You can use anything you've got. I just kind of needed a spacer there so I don't have to use so much filler. And I'm just going to kind of sit that in there. And I can always take those out later and reuse them for something else. Now, again, we're going to use the reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree. I really love this for spring. I think it looks so springy and mossy. And we're just going to cover all of the floral foam. If you're going to do this like for something outside, you might want to glue that down. But I'm kind of doing an indoor decoration, so I think it's going to sit in there nicely. And it made it look really full. Now, these are the flowers that I picked out from the Dollar Tree to decorate it with. The white ones are the lilacs and they're so pretty. I chose 2 different kinds of flowers. So, they'll kind of coordinate together. And then it's a little bit too tall since I put like that spacer underneath there. So I am just going to bend it and put one in the side, one in the middle, and one on the end. I always like to work with odd numbers. I think it looks better when you're doing any kind of arrangement like this. And then the 2 spots in between will fill in with these beautiful like salmon color flowers. They're so pretty. And kind of get them all about the same height. Now, I was missing one flower from one, so I decided to remove one flower from the second one just to make sure they're even. And bending that and pushing that into the floral foam. And that's all there is to it. We have a little spring flower box, and I think it just turned out so pretty. What do you think about this one? I love that little welcome sign. I think it's so fun. And you could even add some more detail to those little, like the little plant and stuff like that if you'd like. But it reminds me so much of spring. I really love how that turned out. Okay, look at this little spring gnome they had in the garden section. They also had these little like fence post signs, which are super cute. I totally bought it for the fence post though, not for like the existing design. I'm gonna keep this little galvanized metal flower pot though, and the little flowers. They were so easy to pop off. And then it left me with like a little fence sign. I think it's gonna be perfect. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave the hanger on the back and just repaint the sign to cover up the flowers that were on there to kind of give me a plain base, because I want my little garden gnome to be standing in front of this like white picket fence. Nothing screams like a yard like a white picket fence. So I am just going over with white. I do a coat over the flowers first to kind of give a primer so that won't shine through. And then I go over all of it with just white acrylic. Don't worry about like covering up the lines when you're painting this, because you can always kind of add those back on. I thought about cutting it down to kind of make some grooves in there, but I decided to just go with the Sharpie. It kind of worked. I was using like a goldish brown color and my ruler and trying to draw those back on. The sign was a little bit taller, but we're going to make it work. And so it's okay if it looks a little distressed. Just going to make it look a little bit more like wood. Now, it was a little too white and pristine for my style, so I'm going to go over with some Antique Wax by Waverly and a chunky brush, and just working in one direction, distressing, making sure I get the tops and the bottom of each one, and distressing lightly all over. Then I'm going to go back with a baby wipe and wipe off the excess, kind of rubbing that in, kind of giving it a weathered, worn looking fence. Totally goes more with my like coastal farmhouse vibe in my house. But you can leave yours pristine white if you'd like. And now it's time to decorate this cute little garden gnome holding a flower. I'm gonna just remove the hanger at the top, and we're gonna paint everything under the burlap with white. Acrylic just to give us a nice base coat, and we can add some colors to that. I like that they added the burlap to the hat, but I almost don't like it because I had to paint around it and try to make sure that I don't get any paint on the burlap. I may have wanted to just add that myself. Not really sure why they chose to do that, but I'm not going to worry about the hat right now. I've got a plan for that. So everything just under the hat is what we're painting. So I decided that that salmon color would be really cute for a little pink nose for our gnome. So just using a small brush, I go over that. And these are the raised wood pieces on there, so it's kind of easy to paint that. And then I take a tiny brush and I'm just going to kind of do like his clothes in that color as well. As you can see, he doesn't have like a lot of clothes, but he does have a little bit of clothes underneath of his beard here, and I kind of wanted those to be a contrasting color. Now for his little mittens and boots, I thought we would do that light turquoise color, so mixing turquoise and white together again. I'm just going to simply go over all of those, kind of leaving the white border around. As you can see, there's like a little line, just kind of trying to paint within the lines. And then I decided to clean it up a little bit with a Sharpie, just to kind of go over my lines. I did have a similar color, but this step's totally optional. Now it's time for the little gnome hat. I have this fabric left over from another spring DIY. I got this at Dollar Tree, and I love that this is going to coordinate with my little watering can DIY that I made with this. So I just draw out on the back of it how big the little gnome hat is, and then use that little Sharpie line to cut out my fabric. I love this fabric. I think it's so pretty for spring, and the colors are perfect for my color scheme. So we have a little gnome hat. I'm not going to worry about the little hole that was on there for the hanger. You'll never be able to see it. Now for the top part of the hat, it's a little bit more complex. I just laid it over that burlap part and kind of felt with my finger and used an ink pen to kind of draw that on, so I didn't know exactly where to cut that. And that actually worked out pretty well because that's kind of a weird cut that I had to do there. Isn't that cute? I love this little gnome. And you'll see that I left the flower white. I do have plans for that. That was kind of my inspiration for a flower there. But since I'm using like fabric, I'm going to do like a thick layer of matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. And just simply lay that fabric on top, trying to get it lined up the best that I can so that like no wood is exposed. And it did pretty good without doing any fraying or anything like that along the sides. But if you have a little bit, I think it's going to be fine. And just trying to smooth that out, making sure it goes all the way up to like the burlap part of the sign. I think he's looking really cute. And so this is what I had planned. I have used this flower in another DIY, and I think it's so pretty. And so I'm going to use one for this. The color is perfect. I want to trim this down a little bit, but not so much that it makes the flower fall apart. And then I'm just going to put it on top of the white flower that he already has there. If you wanted, you could drill a hole into that and kind of put the flower down into it. I really wasn't wanting to drill a hole in them, so I just kind of glue it on there. And then I don't really want like the white flower to be exposed, so I kind of like glue the petals down and it kind of covers it up. This is kind of like the perfect size for this gnome to be holding. Then I do the same thing at the top there, just kind of gluing it all down and arranging it like that. Now we can attach our little garden gnome to our fence. I kind of want it to look like he's standing like in a yard. And so I'm going to kind of put him up a little bit from the bottom and then use some reindeer moss for like our garden ground that's going to be like in front of the fence. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and take the tag off the back and glue him down. I used like the moss at the bottom for grass like that in some of my spring DIYs last year. I think it turned out really cute. And I remember doing that, so I thought I would want to do that with this one as well. And I decided not to really add any like bows or words to that, but you totally could if you wanted to. You could spell out spring or bloom or something like that along the sides. That'd be really cute. And then just using hot glue, I am just gluing down the reindeer moss, trying to keep kind of just one row of it to kind of make it look like grass. And if you get too much or if it's like hanging over the bottom, don't worry, you can always trim that up later once you get it all glued down. Just trying to glue in any bald places here with that. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to trim up the bottom, just clean it up a little bit. And we have our little garden gnome. You guys know I love my gnomes, so I was really happy to be able to do a couple of gnome projects today because we had the gnome in the fairy garden as well. And this is how it turned out, my little spring gnome. I absolutely love that fabric and the little burlap detail on there as well. It is so cute. And I love like the pink and the blue together. Really a fun little DIY to bring a little spring into your home this year. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. Okay, our first bird DIY. We're going to do a bird in a bird cage. And I found the cutest little bird cage at the Target dollar spot. It's like white iron. It has like a wood base and it is perfect. You could try DIYing your own. I've seen some ideas with like the football wreath forms or the trash baskets, but for $5 at the Target dollar spot, I would highly recommend just buying this because look how cute it is. Now, what I want to DIY though is a bird to go inside of it. Now, the only bird I could find this size at Dollar Tree was this ugly little bird cat toy. So we're going to DIY this and make this super cute. A cute little bird to go inside the birdhouse. Now, this has like a funny little tail on it. And so that's the first thing we're going to do is just snip that off to get it out of the way. I basically just want the plush bird form. And I'm going to cover this with burlap. So I think the wings might get in the way. So we're just going to go ahead and snip those off as well. And we are just going to cover this whole thing. It is blue and you're going to kind of be able to see through the burlap a little bit, but that's okay. Blue's kind of my theme today. So this is just a scrap of Dollar Tree burlap that I had left over from my Easter video. I had a lot of comments worried I was wasting my scrap burlap, but I always use my scraps, people. Come on. Okay, so what I want to do is have enough burlap to go over both sides of my bird to kind of like sandwich it in there. So I cut down a piece that's enough to like cover the whole thing. And then what I'm going to do is go with my hot glue and I'm going to go all the way around the bird, kind of sketching out the shape of the bird, but kind of on the outside of it. So I have enough room to glue the burlap to itself all along the edges of the bird to keep that cute little bird shape, which is really what I wanted. I was having trouble finding a bird this size for sure at the Dollar Tree. Their selection's not great when it comes to birds. But see what I did? I just glued that all the way around that. So now that I glued it and it dried, I can just use my scissors and cut the glued part all the way around into the shape of a little bird. Now, I didn't have it quite glued all the way, so I am going to just glue that section down right there and just kind of trim it up a little bit. And you can kind of tell it's still a bird, but it'll look like a bird when we're done with it. Now, these are new at the Dollar Tree. They're burlap leaves. They also have burlap flowers that I'm going to be using later on in another DIY. But look how cute these are. They are like white and brown burlap. There's like 2 different sizes and they're little leaves. But I thought they'd make really cute feathers for our little DIY bird. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use like, I think both colors. They're kind of sealed and so they don't fray or anything like that. You know, they're kind of cut out perfectly. So that is going to be great for this project. So let's start putting this cute little bird together. This was one of my favorite projects today for sure. I'm going to go ahead and just start gluing some tail feathers on both sides of our bird. The little brown ones, and then some of the white burlap leaves. And I think I'm going to do like 3 on each side, just kind of flaring them out, kind of alternating colors too. Now for the wings, I'm also going to use the little leaves. I'm going to use 2 on each side, like a white one and a brown one. Isn't that cute? It's starting to look like a bird a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it on the other side too. I want like a 3-dimensional bird that can be in our little bird cage. Okay, it's looking pretty cute. It's got a nice bird shape. It does need eyes though. So I thought I would use some Dollar Tree buttons for some eyes. So I'm just trying to find like some black ones that are about the same size. And I'm just going to glue one of those on each side of my bird to make some cute little eyes. Super easy. I'm just kind of doing the flat side up. And those are pretty similar. Okay, so our bird has wings, it has feathers. I kind of want a beak shape here, and so I'm just gonna cut that into a tip, the little part that was glued, so it looks like the bird now has a little beak there. Just gonna clean up any of the hot glue on the burlap with my heat gun. The heat gun kind of like either it'll melt the glue or make it where it's easy to remove, so you can clean that all up. And it's looking really cute. I do want to add like a little bit more detail to the beak though. So I'm just going to take like an orange Sharpie, works great on burlap, and just kind of color that in on both sides to give a little orange beak. And now I kind of want to do like a nest on the bottom of our bird cage. I thought that'd be cute. And Dollar Tree has been getting some different like floral moss. This one is like brown. And I thought this would be great. The only thing is it was really dry and kind of messy. So I'll show you how I kind of overcome that issue. I'm just going to kind of measure out enough that's going to cover like the base of the bird cage and then kind of put it off to the side. You can tell by looking at the tray how crazy messy that stuff is. And so once I get like a little, you know, floral moss, I guess, patty, I'm going to take some of that spray adhesive from the Dollar Tree and spray it down pretty good. Go over it with my heat gun and dry it. It didn't melt like some of the things I've seen with heat at Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to do that a couple of times till it kind of sticks together a little bit and makes it just a little bit less messy. I'm just going to scoop that up and lift that back onto my bird cage, and that looks way better. Now they also have this green lycopodium, I guess it's called. I thought it was really pretty too. So I thought we'd do a combination of like a brown and a green nest just to give a little bit more color. Kind of sitting this one on top, just kind of making a little ring for our little burlap bird to sit in. It's kind of cool. I've never really DIY'd with that before. And it's a perfect little nest for our bird. I'm just going to put some hot glue down on the moss so that my bird stays in place and glue him down to his cute little nest. Now my bird is a tiny bit bigger than my bird cage, but it works because, you know, there's holes in the side. So he's going to be like just poking out a little bit. And so I think that looks pretty good. Let me give you a little close-up of this cute little bird. I love him. Isn't he adorable? And then all I got to do is put the top of the bird cage on. And our first bird DIY is complete. I love the bird cage. It's so cute. If you see it at Target, you should really pick one up. And this is how it looks in my home. If you wanted to hang it, you could. But then you would have to glue the base on, and I kind of want it where I can switch it out for different seasons because it's so adorable.
I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this DIY?
Okay, the next DIY, I found this cute little canvas at Dollar Tree. It says Welcome Spring, and it's like a beautiful blue color, which I love for my decor. And so I thought we would take this cheap little canvas and frame it and make it look really cute for spring. I took down all of my Easter decor. And so I have my spring chicken DIYs that I did recently, and I have beach stuff coming in, but everything just seemed kind of bare, so I really wanted some more spring DIYs to brighten up my house, and I think these turned out great. Now I'm just cutting all the way around the edges with a razor blade just to remove the canvas from the back. The only tricky part is always the corners where it's kind of folded up a little bit. But I know from framing Dollar Tree canvases before that I really only need the front to fit in this Dollar Tree frame. Now, I like this frame. It's a nice size. There's only a couple things I don't like about it. I don't like the hanger. It doesn't hang right. And for some reason, they don't staple the corners down. And so the frame like starts coming apart. And so that's the first thing I always do with these is staple down all the corners so that everything stays put. Now, the other thing I don't really like about this is the wood on the back is really pretty, but the frame wood is like MDF. I wish they would made that pretty too, because I always have to try to disguise it. So here is the front of our welcome spring sign. Isn't that image beautiful? I love the color. I'm just going to cut along the crease for the front of the canvas. It's going to get me pretty close to the size of the inside of that frame. Almost fits. So I just have to do a little bit more trimming here to get it to fit down in there. It's almost impossible to get a perfect cut, but you can get pretty close, and I'll show you how to kind of disguise the edges too if you don't get it quite right. Now I'm going to do a rather thick layer of a matte Mod Podge all over the back of my frame because I am gluing down like a heavy canvas and I want it to stay put. And then laying my canvas right inside the frame. And anytime you frame one of these canvases, they just look so much better than if you leave them on their own, I think. So I've got it down. Now I'm going to go over the top of it with more Mod Podge, sealing that down, kind of working in one direction there. And I love this sign. I love the sign so much that I bought two. Maybe by accident. I don't even remember. Now, I told you I didn't really like the frame, so I'm trying a new technique. This is just Dollar Tree paint. I've been trying to test it out for you guys a little bit to see how it is. I noticed it's thin, so this is a very soft pink, and I thought maybe we could distress like the MDF wood frame with the pink, because there's some slight pink flowers on the canvas. And I thought that would go well together. Now, you'll see what happens. Since it is like MDF, like it soaks up all the paint when I dry it. So I do go over it a couple of times and it distressed it. I think it does look way better. I wouldn't necessarily say it looks pink though, but I like it better than it was before. So it's a win. Okay, now the next step in our little welcome spring sign is I want to make a new hanger. So I use the existing hanger to figure out how long I need. I just take some Dollar Tree thin twine, feed it from the back in, and tie it in the front. That's going to make it hang flat against your wall because the hanger that comes with it definitely does not. I also have a couple of Dollar Tree white beads that I'm just going to string on here. It always works a little bit better if you put a little hot glue on the tip of your twine before you start trying to do that. And they have these painted white beads at Dollar Tree now. They are so cute. I'm just going to do 2 on each side just to provide a little bit more fun to the hanger and tie it off there in front. Now, almost complete with this little bird DIY, but there was just a few more things I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of cover the seam between the frame and the canvas to make it all sealed in there, all my cuts perfect. So I'm going to use the thicker twine from the Dollar Tree, which is pretty fuzzy. So I'm going to go ahead and try to burn some of the fuzzies off before I glue it down, because then it would just kind of be impossible. And just starting in one corner, I'm going to glue that down. That little tool that you see me using there, some of you guys have asked about those. I use a couple different ones. They are the little cake decorating tools from the Dollar Tree, and they work great for hot glue, especially when you don't want to burn yourself. I used to use like makeup things, but I think I prefer the cake decorating ones better. So I go all the way around all 4 sides and glue that down. It's looking pretty cute. As you can tell, most of the paint definitely went into the frame, but it still looks kind of cute. Now I wanted some like tree flowers, and I picked up some cherry blossoms from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just gonna snag a couple of those little light pink flowers. They kind of remind me of the flowers on the canvas. And just glue like 3 of them over here in the corner. This one's actually got leaves on it, which is cute. So I'm going to go ahead and find another one with leaves here for the other side, just to kind of balance it out. And I thought that provided another little fun spring detail to this bird DIY. This is kind of a medium-sized sign. You could really hang this anywhere. I think I'm going to be hanging this in my dining room on the side of my kitchen cabinets. I think it'll look really cute there, and I love the colors in it. Isn't it cute? So this is our second little bird DIY today.
And I just love birds for spring. I think it looks so pretty on that blue sky background. Very beautiful, and I like the flowers on there as well. This is how this one turned out. I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about memberships on my channel. For $4.99 a month, you can get early ad-free access to my videos and a few other perks as well, and you can cancel anytime. All you have to do is hit that join button.
Okay, our next bird DIY, we're going to use one of these embossed little bird signs from the spring section at the Dollar Tree, and then one of these little Dollar Tree wood signs that's framed a little circle. They are super cute. And then some of this new white burlap from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. I love it. Now, I have covered one of these metal signs before with burlap, but I use like the burlap bags with the plastic backing on them, and it worked really well. So I wasn't totally sure if this was going to work using like real burlap like this, but I decided to go for it, and it did work. It does take a little bit of time to dry, but you do get to see the details in it once it's dry. So I'm just going to cut a piece of the white burlap out that's going to be large enough. You want to go larger. And then what I'm going to do is just glue that to our bird first and then cut it down to size. So I'm going to go all over with a nice thick coat of Mod Podge that will kind of seep through this, and it's always a little hard to get the burlap down at first. So I always kind of like hold it down and then go over the top of it with more Mod Podge. I'm using like a foam Dollar Tree brush, so I'm kind of like sponging that down in it, making sure that I get all of the burlap glued down wherever there is metal bird and completely down in all of the different textures on there. So I got that glued down and I got it dried. So now I'm just using my scissors to cut down the burlap. Just trying to cut as close as I can without really showing any of the metal. And we're going to have a little white burlap bird. I loved my first burlap bird so much, it kind of inspired me to make another one. And so this is another kind of version of a burlap bird for sure. And I wanted to do white because I'm going on that wood sign. I didn't want to do the brown burlap because it would kind of, all match together. Wasn't super square flat, but it's okay because it's not going to need to be that way to glue it to the frame because the beak and the tail are both going to actually glue to the frame. And so I think it's going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that down right in the middle and both ends of our little bird. And that's what it looks like so far. I wanted to glue it down before we decorated it any further. Now, I'm going to use an orange Sharpie again for the beak and just kind of sketch that on there, providing a little bit of color. I love to use Sharpies on burlap. It works great and you don't have to worry about the bleeding from a paint pen. I'm going to do the same thing for the little bird eye. I could kind of feel where it was, just doing a little black circle there. Now I'm going to use those same burlap leaves that we used on the first burlap bird. They worked so well, so I thought we could try to use them on this kind of bigger version of a bird as well. And I'm going to kind of alternate like colors like that, kind of using some of the bigger size ones because there's like two size of the burlap leaves. But I love these. Only one of my Dollar Trees seems to have these so far, but hopefully everybody gets them in because they're so cute. It happens to be the same Dollar Tree that still does not have any Shore Living. Could not believe it when I went there yesterday. They have 2 empty aisles. I guess it's going to go in one of the aisles. Then I'm going to use a very light blue Sharpie. I love Sharpies. I'm always hoarding all the colors I can find. and just going around that border all the way around the bird to kind of sketch it out, give a little bit of blue color to this and kind of bring out the outline of the bird. I also go in and just kind of outline the little burlap feathers to kind of go with the theme. I do the white ones and then I go back and end up doing the brown ones too. Now when it dried, you could kind of see it has a bigger wing. You could outline that too, and I might go back and do it now that I see it a little bit better. I thought we can make the hanger look a little bit better than the raw wood beads. And I got these with the Easter stuff at Dollar Tree, these colorful painted wood beads. And we're gonna like alternate like the light blue and the tan. I think that's gonna look really cute with this. It's gonna match our little bird. Whenever I do wood beads on a sign, I always like to do like an even number so it's gonna hang right if I use it on a nail. And I just tie a knot back into the hanger and staple that back to the frame on the back. Super cute. Now, the only thing left is I wanted to add a flower. These are the burlap flowers that I was talking about that I found also with the burlap leaves. Look how cute they are. There are 3 of them in a package, and they're not adhesive or anything like that. They're just like already all put together, a cute little burlap flower. I thought it would look good maybe right here at the bottom of my sign, just to bring a little flower, a little spring touch in. And so I'm just gonna glue that to the frame. And that's all there is to this bird DIY. I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this little burlap bird? Super fun.
I think he turned out really cute. Some nice spring colors. You can kind of see the wing outline there. You could outline that a little bit more with like a marker or something for a little bit more detail. But I love those little burlap flowers from Dollar Tree as well. I think those are great for spring DIYs. And up next we have a beautiful giant burlap flower for spring.
I'm gonna use a wood sign from the Dollar Tree. This is a square. It totally doesn't matter what it is. And a wood round from the Dollar Tree would actually be great for this. But I'm gonna use what I had. So I'm just gonna paint it pink with acrylic paint, just because I thought this pink color really reminded me of spring. And the only thing that you're gonna be able to see on this sign is the corners really. So it doesn't matter that all the other stuff's on there. Now for the flower that we're going to add to it, we're going to do a giant burlap flower using this burlap roll that I got at Walmart. It is an 18-inch roll. I thought like working with a roll would be easiest because I need to have, you know, certain sizes to make the petals of my burlap flower. And I have never made one of these before. I cut 18 inches, so I had a large 18-inch square. And then what I did was I cut that in half and then cut that in half again. So that one square is going to give me 4 pieces that I can use for my petals. Each of them is going to be 9 inches by 9 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut some twine, and let me show you how I construct the petals. So I'm going to fold up from the bottom and then fold up from the top until they touch, pinch it, and then pinch it from the top and the bottom. Then using my other hand, I'm going to tie it off with twine. That twine's going to kind of match in with the burlap, and it's going to secure my petals. Now that's 2 petals because they're going to be bent kind of like that. And I have no idea at this point how many petals I'm going to need. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a bunch of them. And if I need to make more, so be it. Now, this would be really pretty too if you had like a colored burlap or something like that. That would be so pretty. But this brown burlap goes really well with my coastal decor. So I think it's going to look really cute for this. So again, just fold it up, fold it down till they touch, pinch in the middle, pinch from the top and the bottom, and then tie it off. Once you have like your squares cut out, it goes pretty quickly. You could go ahead and cut all your squares out first, but again, you're probably not going to want to make more than you're actually going to need. So I want this to be like fairly large. I'm going to kind of hang this by my front door area, and so I want it to be a nice focal piece just a large flower. I've seen like people have made like flowers like these into like different kinds of specific flowers using different colors and stuff like that. That would be really pretty as well. So I'm going to kind of use my sign to try to figure out how many of these pieces. That's how full it would be if I just used 4 of those pieces. But I decided I wanted my flower to be a little bit fuller. So I'm kind of trying to see what it would look like if instead of 4, I use 6. And I liked that a lot better. I am going to do another row of flower petals like that. But I think this is a good starting point. Now, I thought it would be easier to glue down 3 of these instead of 6. So I'm just going to tie the adjacent pieces next to each other because they're going to kind of be touching anyway like that, and then fold them all back. So I'm going to do that on the other 2 sets of 2, just so I have less things to glue down. But this step, totally optional. So there we have it. Now we just need to secure that to the sign. I just used hot glue, and then I pushed that down, securing it, making sure I like the way my petals look. You're going to get a different look kind of depending on which way you arrange it. Glue my second one over here on the left, and then glue my final one here on the right, just securing them in the center, letting all of the petals kind of flare out. Now I need to start working on my second row. Since I went ahead and did 6 on the first one, I am going to have to make a couple more petals because I'm not going to have enough. But at this point, I'm a pro. The only thing is you want to try to get your petals symmetrical if you can. So don't work too fast. Otherwise, you're going to have to move it around like that. Okay, so here's our flower. I'm going to go ahead and do what I did before by tying the adjacent ones together, just to make it easier to glue down. And I'm going to do that with both sets. So we did 6 on the bottom. We're going to do 4 on the top. And I thought that would make it bloom out, you know, kind of like a real flower. Super cute. Then I thought it would be even easier if I just tie it all together with the twine. And then I would only have one thing to glue down. And it's going to make it, I think, stay together better, you know, since I'm just using hot glue to attach it. So I like the way that looks, so I'm just going to do a ring of hot glue on the top and the bottom to make sure I get that secure, and then gluing that to the bottom set of petals, kind of staggering it out so the petals kind of go in between the other petals below it. Now I was trying to decide what would be a good center for the flower, and I was kind of doing a beachy theme, and I thought it would be perfect if I used a Dollar Tree sand dollar for the middle, but if you wanted to use any kind of circle, that would be great too. I wanted to bring a little color into it, so I paint my little Dollar Tree sand dollar this Caribbean blue color to kind of go with my beachy decor. And I'm going to attach that to the center of this burlap flower. That way I have the pink sign behind it, I have the blue sand dollar on it, kind of a blue and pink color scheme. So I'm just going to attach that with hot glue. Now I get this glued down, and I wasn't like super happy with it. I thought it needed more color for spring, and so you'll see how I add that in a second. Now I did want to replace the hanger just to add a little bit more fun, so I'm just using some of the wood bead garland from the Dollar Tree, and I think I was being super lazy on this and just tying it to the existing hangers. That way I didn't have to try to attach it to the back. I thought that might be more secure. Their staples they use at the Dollar Tree must be a different size than the ones that I use at home, because mine always go through those Dollar Tree signs. Just like that, and we have a wood bead hanger. And you won't be able to see the staple down there if it goes all the way through, so I just stapled down the original hanger. Now, these are the pink cosmos flowers that I got at Dollar Tree, and I thought this would be a great solution to try to add more color. And again, if you use like a color burlap or a colored fabric, you wouldn't have that problem that it's just not colorful enough. So I thought if I added just some of these pink flower petals on my flower, I could add some more color. So I was thinking about just cutting them in half like that, and then tucking the petals underneath my sand dollar slightly, just attaching with a little hot glue and bringing in some of that fun pink. And I'm just using one of those little Dollar Tree Cricut tools to kind of slide those in there so I don't burn myself with hot glue. And I'm going to kind of stagger them so they kind of like go out in different directions like a flower petal. And I was happy with that solution, so I am going to keep doing that all the way around the sand dollar. And I think this was really what it needed. It really just needed another dose of color. And since I'm just cutting the petals apart, I can make this flower as big as I need it to be. I've never dismantled the Dollar Tree flowers like this and just used the petals before, but hey, it worked. So just going all the way around until I finish off the flower. And I liked that way more. I thought this was really fun. I did want to slightly distress my little blue sand dollar just to kind of give it that coastal farmhouse feel. So I just do that with a little bit of ivory, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe. And there it is, our little coastal spring burlap flower. I think it's so cute. You know, on a wood round, you wouldn't be able to see the background. That would be great if you wanted to hang it like on your doorway, but I don't really mind the square sign behind it because you do get a little bit of pink peeking through from behind the flower. Okay, this next DIY is going to be so easy. I just picked up one of these little truck placemats from the Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these whenever I can find a good design. We're going to make a really easy spring sign with that little blue truck full of flowers. Now, you guys know I love to use these little chalkboard signs from the Dollar Tree. One reason is they're a great size and they're thick and they don't bow like the thinner Dollar Tree sign. So I'm going to use it even though it's kind of going the wrong direction. We're going to make it horizontal just by removing the hanger and doing our own thing. Now, it's almost the right size, but I thought I could just kind of do my own background because I'm not going to be able to fit that entire placemat on there. So just using some of this white wood removable wallpaper from the Dollar Tree. I'm so happy that all my stores are carrying this stuff now. It's so easy to craft with, and I am just going to attach that to my sign. And then if you have too much, then you can just use like a Dollar Tree sanding block, and that gives you a perfect cut along the side. I like using the blue one with like the palm print on it is one of my favorite removable wallpapers, but this is probably my close second. I use it a lot. I think the whiteboards always give every project like a nice coastal feel. Now, I don't really want it to look like just, you know, paper, so I thought if I distress it slightly with some ivory, I'm going to make it look a little bit more farmhouse. Kind of breaking up those lines, adding a little bit of ivory color to it as well, and then wiping off the excess with a baby wipe. Just something I like to do to make it look a little bit less like paper and more like a background. Now, so I'm going to cut out the truck. Now this like placemat from the Dollar Tree, this material is like a thin, pliable plastic. It's super easy to cut. And I wasn't able to fit the whole thing on there, like with the words and everything. So I thought I would just cut around the truck. That's why I did the background on the sign, so that I would have something underneath of it that would be the perfect size for my sign. And I'm just trying to get kind of close to the truck. I don't want to mess with the design. But again, that white's going to be on a white background, so you're really not going to be able to see it. And isn't that little truck cute, full of flowers for spring? I love it. And the little blue truck always reminds me of a coastal because of the blue color. So I am going to do a rather thick layer of Mod Podge on the back and on the sign, and we are going to glue this to it. Just with the Mod Podge, and then just using a baby wipe to kind of smooth it out to make sure it's down and flat. And then I'm also going to go over the top of it with more of that matte Mod Podge to make sure it is down and secure and it's not going to peel off. And I just love this truck. I've noticed they also have it like on the little coasters in the same style. It'd be really cute. You can DIY a sign with a coaster as well. I think it's perfect for spring. They had it last spring and they have it again this year. I've seen it too. And I really don't want it coming up. I was worried about that thick plastic, so I do go over it with another coat of matte Mod Podge to secure it. Then to kind of make it look a little bit more like a hand-painted sign, I am just going to distress it slightly with some more of that ivory acrylic, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe, and it gives me that fun coastal farmhouse vibe. I'm not going to add like any kind of like ocean starfish or anything like that, but you know, the white boards and the light blue beachy truck, I think that gives you a coastal touch. Then I thought this nautical rope would too, and I always like to frame out my signs, and using a rope is always super fun. This is the thicker white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I know they have like all different diameters, at least 2 different kinds right now. And then I'm just going to glue that on to do a simple rope frame starting along the bottom. And if you leave it attached, you can like just go all the way around. You won't have to worry about cutting and seams. This is going to add a little bit of thickness to the sign as well, which I always like to do with my Dollar Tree DIY signs. I'm going to go along the top. And I'm also going to use this rope to make a hanger, since we had to remove the hanger and the holes because we made this horizontal sign. So I am cutting through that. It is a rather thick rope. I like to use like either really sharp scissors or the KitchenAid scissors to kind of saw through that. Gluing that down, and then when you come to your corner, you just can kind of trim it as good as you can get it. And then if you use hot glue, you can kind of glue down those fibers and your seam will kind of disappear. Cutting it short is probably the real trick. Because I had a lot going on down there. Now that I have it short enough, I'm just going to use hot glue and glue it down together. And now it's time to make the hanger. I just tie a knot in that same rope, just a simple knot at the end. Measure to see how big I want it. Tie another knot for the other side of my hanger. This is going to be a super fun little nautical little handle. And I just cut off both ends of the rope like that. And we're just going to attach it to the top of our sign. And this actually worked really well. The sign's not too heavy, so I'm not really worried about it falling apart. But I really liked this look, and I had never kind of made like a handle for a rope sign before, but I really like how it turned out. I'm using some extra hot glue here on the back to make sure that it glues down to the sign itself as well, just to kind of secure it a little bit further. And there it is, our little blue truck for spring filled with flowers. I hung this on the side of my cabinet for spring, and I think it looks so beachy and fun. What do you think? I like the license plates too. It says happy.
And this is how it looks hanging on like the side of my cabinets in my kitchen for spring.
This one was really whimsical and fun. I'm going to use just a wood flower from the Dollar Tree, and I was trying to think, what can I cover that with? That would be coastal or beachy, and then I was like, you know, the little sand dollars from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. Now, if you don't have any of these, they should be coming soon. Trying to remember when the coastal living comes out. I'm thinking April. Do you guys remember? I'm gonna have to check when I did my first shopping haul last year. But it's such a great deal for sand dollars. But if you can't find them there, you can always get some on Amazon pretty cheaply. And they're just the right size to fill in a little flower, and we can make a sand dollar flower. I thought that would be really fun. So I want to kind of cover up, this is just kind of like a brown MDF board sign from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. So I'm just kind of doing a base coat of ivory over everything because I was worried about you being able to see the background. And I didn't want that to contrast against the sand dollars. Now this project kind of evolved because I liked it, but I thought it needed something, so I kind of kept adding to it. But I don't really like the color of the sand dollars. They're kind of gray from the Dollar Tree, so I always like to paint mine ivory. I think that makes them look a little bit prettier. But since it's spring, I thought it'd be fun just to do pink. So I'm using, I think this is called like pink parfait or something like that. Acrylic paint, just something I had, and I'm just going to go over all 6 petals with the pink. And I did the center one, the ivory that I like to leave. And I thought that the pink sand dollars was a really fun touch. You know, we did blue before for the burlap flower, so pink is fun. I'm going to go ahead and make a hanger for the back just by using some twine, tying that off, and I'm going to staple that through the back of the sign. I thought I should do it now before I get any farther on this build. And see how like the little sand dollars are like the perfect size for the petals? I thought this was really fun. And I kind of like want all my slots kind of going the same direction. And now it's time to just start gluing them down. I'm just going to use hot glue and secure them down. I use Gorilla Glue hot glue. I get it on Amazon. It's available in my Amazon shop below. I find that it works really well, and I don't have too much problems with my DIYs staying together. So we're just going to glue them all down. Now I liked the ivory background, but once I get them all on there, I thought it needed like something. I didn't think it really looked like a flower. So we're going to kind of keep building it a little bit. The first thing I did was I kind of just wanted to distress that ivory one, kind of bring out some details. So I'm just doing that with some Antique Wax by Waverly and a baby white, and just kind of distressing that one, kind of making it look more realistic to something that I would actually find on the beach. I've got little like sand dollars from the Gulf Coast a lot and from Puerto Rico. I've got some pretty cool sand dollars. And then I thought it needed more color, so I added one. This is that spring ribbon from the Dollar Tree in like this turquoise color with the little white flowers all over. And I just tied off a simple bow just to put on the hanger, just to bring in some blue to this project, since I was trying to do a lot of beachy blues and pinks for my spring DIYs, just to add a little color. Just tying that on there. Then I thought, you know, maybe if I add leaves or leaves, I can make it look more like a flower. So I'm just going to use some greenery on some spring flowers that I had sitting around, just removing the leaves. And I thought I would just attach that to the back of my sign where it can kind of peek out between the petals, the sand dollar petals. So I just kind of leave them intact and then just hot glue them down like that. And I kind of liked that look. I thought that helped make it look a little bit more like a plant and less like just sand dollars. Sometimes you can use something really whimsical for a DIY like this, and then you're like, I don't know if I can make this work. But I think in the end, we actually did. So I do that for all of the gaps between the flower petals, just some leaves on every side. And then I was like, you know, I thought I was done, but I said, you know, it would look really cute if it looked like they were actually laying in sand. So I'm using Mod Podge, and I just do a layer in all of that area, the kind of the gap area between the sand dollars, and then using a Dollar Tree brown sand, I just glue that sound down, and it makes it look like the sand dollars are like laying on the beach in sand. And I really liked that touch. I thought it was really cute. So just kind of pushing it down into the Mod Podge, and then I used some of that spray adhesive from the Dollar Tree to go over the top to glue it down as well. And then just drying that on there, and another coat of glue just to make sure that sand's not going anywhere because I'm going to hang it on the wall. And I think this is really whimsical and fun, but we have some sand dollars in sand, I guess, flower. Now, I got to that point and I decided I wanted to add to it to kind of make it more of a sign. So I told you this project evolved, right? So I had like a wood round from the Target dollar spot, and I thought it's nice and thick and I can kind of add that Dollar Tree sign to that. So that's what we're going to do. I do want to kind of slightly distress it with some ivory, just to kind of make it look kind of coastal and beachy to go with it. And then I'm going to glue that flower onto the wood round. Now, Dollar Tree has wood rounds now. You could kind of do the same thing, but this one was maybe a little bit smaller. But this step is totally optional. You can just totally leave your flower the way I had it before. I decided I needed to use like a little bit of a spacer, so I'm just going to use some of these wood dominoes from the Dollar Tree just to kind of have a surface that I can then glue down to the sign. Kind of like that. So I'm just going to hot glue all of the points that would touch it and secure that to the wood round. And then I do want to bring in that blue color again, so I'm going to tie that blue bow with that ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to add that to the hanger like I did before. And it just made it a chunkier piece to kind of go. I'm going to put this on the wall with all of my coastal decor, bring a little bit of spring into it. And this is how it turned out. This is how it looks in my house. My little sand dollar of flower. I think it's so fun. It makes me smile.
I had to throw something beachy in there for my beach lovers. I know not all of you are, but I thought you would think this was fun.
Okay, next DIY. I'm going to use one of these little wood blue trucks from the Dollar Tree, some flowers, and then just another dollar spot sign. So I love this. The only thing I don't like is the glitter. So I thought we could maybe DIY this little sign from the Dollar Tree. And they have these in different colors and styles. I picked the blue truck because, of course, I like that beachy blue truck for kind of a coastal feel for spring. So the first thing I thought is I wanted to tone down like the glitter on the bumpers. There's like a little bit of glitter on the tires as well, and like the lettering and like the bottom rail there of the truck. So I was just kind of seeing if I could disguise that. I'm going to use this Caribbean blue acrylic and just kind of just paint over the glitter. And that actually worked. It kind of gave you a textured look, but it looked way better, I thought, than the glitter, because that's not really the vibe I was going with these DIYs. I wanted it to look more coastal farmhouse. And it matched the blue truck that was on there pretty well. Now, for the glitter on the tires, I thought I could do the same thing. And so I'm just going to go in with some silver. I had some kind of silver metallic acrylic paint and just kind of paint over the inside of the tires to kind of cover up all that glitter. Kind of changing the color scheme as well, because there was a little bit of yellow on there. And I like working with the metallic paint. It kind of makes me, for tires, it kind of gives me that like chrome look that you would have on your tire. And then I'm going to use that along the bottom here as well to cover up that glitter and give it kind of that silver shiny color. I did have to go over it with a couple of coats to cover up the colors that was underneath of it, that bright yellow. But I like the way that looks. Then for the center part, I thought I would just make it black. So I'm just going to use a black paint pen and just kind of draw that on. It would almost look fine even without it. Just a simple circle. Now, you know I like to distress things. I'm using some ivory and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, and just distressing our little coastal blue truck a little bit, just to bring out some character. Also distressing the tires. Now you can see it's filled with flowers in the back, and I think that's super cute. They have glitter on them too, but I'm not going to worry about that because I thought we could fill this truck up with some actual like Dollar Tree flowers instead. Now, I wanted to kind of cover up the glitter here where it says fresh flowers. So to paint over it, I'm just using a paint pen. I thought pink would be really cute. It would contrast nicely against that blue truck. So I just go over all the writing, super easy with my pink paint pen, and that toned down the glitter as well. Distressing that a bit as well to kind of make it kind of go with everything else. So I did kind of use the existing, you know, paint and style of that. If you wanted to DIY your own, you could always turn it over and start from scratch. Now I wanted like some blue flowers. I thought that would be fun for my coastal decor. So I picked out a couple different colors, kind of a mint green and a light blue. Then I thought if I just drill a hole, I can poke the flowers in and secure them into the back of the truck. So I'm leaving all that part on there. So I'll have something that I can attach all the flowers to. And so I'm just kind of drilling where I think it needs to be, just kind of alternating them around. And you can use any flowers you've got. I was doing really good at using all my stash of flowers for DIYs, but I've been seeing some really pretty ones this spring, and I think I'm starting to get too many again. It's easy to see them and buy them and then not DIY with them. So this is an excuse to use some of your flower stash. They're a little bigger than I would like, but I think we're going to be able to make it work. So I just keep drilling holes and just popping them through. Couldn't be any easier if you get your drill bit the right size. And if you didn't want to use a power tool, you could always use a screw to kind of drill a hole in there. You want it to be about the perfect size so that the flower will stay put just by friction. So that looks pretty full. You can't really see any of the existing flowers. I was trying to see if I added some greenery, if that would look better. And then I am just kind of trimming them up a little bit on the back. And then adding some hot glue to each one to make sure, since I'm hanging this on the wall, that these aren't going to fall out. So to add the greenery in there, I thought I would just take some of that greenery from the flowers that we used and just put some hot glue on the end and put it in there just to break up the colors. I thought it was just a little too much blue flowers, not enough greenery. And so I'm just going to keep doing that until I like the way it's looking. And I think that did help. Maybe a smaller flower too would look really good, but I definitely like the colors on these. Adding a little bit more greenery over here. And then I wanted to just kind of layer a sign. So I had a rectangular wood sign from the Target Dollar Spot. And the only reason I'm doing this is to kind of make it a chunkier piece. And it has that beautiful wood grain on it as well. I'm going to distress it with ivory again with a chunky brush. Just because I think that always gives a nice coastal farmhouse vibe. Even to a wood look like this. Once I get it all distressed, I just go over that with a baby wipe, wiping off any excess paint. And distressing it a little more. And then I can add my little truck to it. It's just going to make it a more substantial piece, but you could always layer this on a Dollar Tree sign as well. My Target Dollar Spot has not been having very many of these plain signs lately. Actually, they don't have any of their Easter or spring stuff out. They still only have Valentine's Day, and it's like Valentine's Day as I'm recording this. So I don't know what they're waiting on. And then I'm gluing the whole thing down just with hot glue to the sign in the back. Now I have a little hole there where my truck had a hanger. So I like to disguise that with just a little twine bow. So I take some twine, just tie a simple little bow, and then just glue that over. Easy way to disguise those holes that you need to kind of cover up. And then I wanted to add some beachy touch, and I thought a starfish would be perfect, but the white was a little too bland. So I don't really have much pink on this project, so I thought we would paint it pink, kind of like Patrick's star. So I'm just using acrylic paint in this like pink parfait color. I think that's what it's called. And it's going to give me a nice springy looking starfish. And I don't think this was a starfish from the Dollar Tree. Maybe it was. I also get them on Amazon. This might be one that I had from Amazon. But they do have them at the Dollar Tree as well in the Coastal Living. That comes out every spring now. I can't wait for it to come out. I know a lot of you guys are excited about that. And then I'm going to hot glue that to the top. I'm going to use some more of that spring ribbon. This is the pink version with the white flowers on there. And just to bring in a little bit more pink, tying a simple bow to decorate the hanger of this one as well. Just cutting off some even tails. And then using a little twine to tie that onto my hanger. Just going to add some more color and fun to this DIY. And you could get really creative with this. You can kind of use whatever kind of flowers you've got, but I think it turned out really a fun DIY for spring. And this is how it turned out, and this is how it looks on my wall. I think it's really cute. I love the little blue truck theme. And it's full of fresh flowers.
Just a really fun project for a easy little spring DIY.
Okay, let's keep crafting. Look at these beautiful rub-on transfers that I found at the Crafter Square at the Dollar Tree. I thought we could decorate one of these galvanized metal tulips with those, because sometimes these things can be a little hard to decorate. I also found a great thrift flip sign that we're going to use there from the Goodwill. And I really like that bluish green color. I thought it looked really coastal. And it almost kind of has a sunshine pattern on it. It's got like a great hanger on the back. I like to pick these up at half price days at my Goodwill store. So this was like $1.50. But you can use whatever you've got. I just really dig in the color on that. I thought that would look really pretty for spring. Now it does have like a little clip on it to like hang something. Don't need that on there. So just removing that, the screw on that with a screwdriver. I also wanted to distress it just a little bit. Kind of clean it up, but to kind of make it look more coastal. And my little tulip fits perfectly on there. Now this design is so pretty for spring. Look, it's got all the words on there, the flowers, butterflies, bicycles. So cute. And I thought this would be perfect to decorate this. So I'm just kind of cutting it down to size. And I'm just going to peel off the back and stick it to the galvanized metal tulip. Then I am just going to rub it on. I started with just a scraper, just a little scraper like from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And scrape that on, and look how beautiful that is. What a great way to decorate the galvanized metal pieces from the Dollar Tree. And oh, I think it looks so pretty for spring. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach that with hot glue. I know that they say you shouldn't hot glue the metal pieces, but I usually don't have any problems as long as I work quickly with my high temp hot glue gun. And I'm totally digging it. I think that looks really cute. I did want to kind of distress that background a little bit more. I kind of should have done that before I like glued the tulip down, but that's okay. I'm doing it now. And that's all there is to it. I think this is so pretty for spring. What do you guys think about this little tulip? I think that design on there is just so pretty. Love it. Love the little bicycle on there too.
I love that rub-on. I think it's just so beautiful.
Okay, the next two DIYs, I thought we could use those little flower wall decals from the Dollar Tree. And then I found some really pretty frames from Goodwill, and they're really old. And I thought we could DIY something fun with this. So I am just peeling off the back of these. What I want to salvage on these frames is the frame and the glass. I'm going to do two of them. And I thought we could do some kind of a coastal cottage theme flower DIY using those beautiful flower decals. I'm always looking at those and always thinking those would be really pretty for spring. But I often have trouble finding what to DIY them with. So I just remove the back and go ahead and take the glass out of the frame. And it's got this beautiful pattern on there. You could always use a Dollar Tree sign. You can get textured Dollar Tree signs, but really liked the antique feel of this. And so I'm just using some ivory chalk paint and a chunky brush and kind of going all over, bringing out that beautiful pattern on this frame. But kind of distressing it at the same time to kind of make it look nice and old. It was kind of a gold metallic before. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glass in these and use the flower sticker as the artwork, but not put the back on it. So I do go over it with another coat, trying to get full coverage over the gold metallic. Didn't really want any of that showing through. And I'm going to go ahead and start on the second frame as well. Just removing the back. You can tell this is an old piece because it is like really put together well. I was having to use my pliers. All kinds of tools here to get this thing taken apart. And we've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the glass from this one as well. And I want to hang these two signs together as a set. So I want to do the same thing on this one that we did on the first one. So just using that ivory chalk paint. Doesn't have to be chalk paint, but I did have some handy. And I am just going all over. I kind of stopped using chalk paint, just making it myself when I need it out of acrylic paint, just because I find that it does add up. If you craft a lot, it can become kind of expensive. Now, I have all of these staples that you saw that I had to lift up on the back of these frames, which is going to kind of interfere with my plan here. So I'm just using some pliers and going around and ripping all of those out. So I like the antique part of this frame, but it was a little bit more work. Now I do want to bring out that beautiful pattern on it. So to do that, I'm just distressing it with Antique Wax by Waverly. And then going over that with a baby wipe to make sure that it's not too brown. I really want it to be ivory, but I want to be like a slightly distressed so that you can see that beautiful pattern on there. Totally what I'm going for, and it really reminded me of like a coastal cottage look, not really coastal farmhouse. And I'm going to do that around all the sides, and it really added to, I think, the antique appeal of this frame. I am trying to get through this voiceover, and I've had to stop like 8 times because I think I'm losing my voice. I really hope I'm not getting sick. I have not been sick forever. And I do not want to be sick. I hate being sick. I know everybody hates being sick, but dang. Okay. So now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pop out all those staples. And I want to hang these together, but I'm actually going to attach them to kind of make them look like they're hanging together, like they came together as a set. So I'll show you that step as well. So I'm just going over this one with the Antique Wax by Waverly as well. And distressing. Isn't that pattern so pretty? And then just going over it with a baby wipe to make sure that it's not too brown. Now these are the flowers that we're going to use. The wall decals that beautiful light pink flower and the beautiful light blue flower. Thought they would be a great set. They come together, so only $1.25 for both. But I wanted to stress them to make them look, kind of coastal. So while they're still attached to the little wall decal thing, I just stress them with some ivory, acrylic, and a chunky brush, and wipe that off with a baby wipe just to give it a nice old weathered look. And you definitely need to do this step now before you add them to the glass if you're going to distress yours as well. I just think it makes it look older, slightly distressed, and more like, hand painted. I don't want it to look like just sticker. So I'm going to clean my glass really well since this was an old frame. And then we can attach our flower to the glass. So they're actually just giant stickers. Now be careful when you're peeling your flower off that you don't accidentally rip any of the leaves. And I'm just going to have it come from the side like that. See where I have the flat edge? I'm going to kind of put that up against the flat edge of the frame. And it fit perfectly on this size of frame, which I think is like an 8 by 10. Then we're going to go ahead and prepare the glass for the second frame as well. Getting it good and clean so this will stick down nicely. The stickers are pretty sticky, so I'm not too worried about them coming off. You could also do this with a decal as well, though. This one kind of has a flat side as well, so I'm going to do that against this side as well, and it fits on there really good too. Now I want to hang this project, and I kind of had to remove the hanger to get the back off, so I'm just going to use some of these little sawtooth hangers that you just hammer in. Just trying to find the middle of my sign to make sure that this thing's going to hang correctly. Those are definitely my favorite kind of hangers for this kind of project. I am going to attach them together, but I'm going to go ahead and do a hanger on both just because I want to make sure they're secure. I don't want them falling apart and breaking. So to attach the glass to the inside of the frame, I just do a bead of hot glue all the way around. Then working quickly, I'm going to go ahead and lay my glass in there. And it's going to give you that beautiful framed glass look with that beautiful springy flower in it. Doesn't that look cool? I think it looks really nice and old and vintage. And we're going to do the same thing here with the other frame that we painted. So just hot glue, add the frame. This is why you have to get rid of the staples and stuff that are going to be kind of in the way. And make sure you get your glass secured in there really well. Had an errant staple that I had missed before, which kind of caused my hot glue to dry up on me, but that's okay, I'll try again. And there is the pink one. So now it is time to try to attach these together. I kind of want them to look like they're attached with like a ribbon look, but I decided burlap was kind of more my style. So I used some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just attach that with hot glue to connect the two signs together. But again, I'm going to leave the hanger on there because I don't want this just to hang from the ribbon. I want it to be where I can actually use a nail to secure this to the wall. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal cottage flowers for spring. I think they're so pretty, and I think they look so pretty hanging together as a set, and a fun little thrift flip.
I like to call this kind of like a coastal cottage kind of feel. Still a little bit coastal, but a lot of spring.
Okay, we have another kind of Dollar Tree DIY thrift flip. I found this little kitchen towel at the Dollar Tree, and I thought we could make it into a canvas. I found this great long sign from Goodwill, and I got this half price. So it was like $1.50, and it's a nice big sign. You could always do this with the long signs from the Dollar Tree as well if you wanted to, if you found like a towel or a print that you like. You guys know I love crafting with any kind of fabric I can get at Dollar Tree. I use washcloths, towels, bandanas, scarves, whatever I can find. Good, cheap craft fabric, and you know they also have fabric as well. Now, this kind of had like a metallic gold frame along the side of it, and I want this to look more like coastal farmhouse. So I am just going to use some ivory chalk paint, adding a little bit of antique wax by Waverly in it to kind of give me like a driftwood color is what I was kind of going for with this. And then I'm just going to paint that over the gold metallic sides. I kind of wanted it to make it kind of look like a driftwood frame. And then I am going to use the towel to replace the image that's on there and kind of make it look like a canvas. So using a chunky brush, I kind of distress it on there to kind of give me that like faux wood grain. And it's okay if some of that gold shines through because it's just going to kind of make it look more distressed. Now, this was kind of the perfect size because my towel is big enough to cover the whole thing. But I was worried that you might be able to see the image through the towel once I glue it on there because it is a white towel. And you could do this with like the flower sack towels as well. That might even look prettier. You just kind of have to find a style that you like. And so I did paint the back of it ivory just to give me that nice clean background. Now I thought I should iron this a little bit because it's got a lot of folds in it, and I thought it was going to be kind of hard to get this flat on it. So I'm just going to go over it with my easy press to kind of flatten out some of the wrinkles on that and give me this wonderful fabric that I can craft with. And the colors are perfect. It's that pink and blues that we've been using a lot today. It's kind of a heavy duty towel though, so when I glue it on, I'm just using Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to do a rather thick coat to secure that down to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Then I'm going to lay my towel on top of the thrifted sign and smooth that out. Gluing that down, and it's just a fun way to make your own canvas. Now I do kind of want it to look sealed like a canvas and not super soft, and so I am going over the top of it with Mod Podge as well, just to kind of make it look a little stiffer, and it's going to help it glue down as well. But I really liked the print and the colors on this. I thought this would go really well for a spring sign for my entryway. Once I get it all Mod Podged, I'm just going to go over it with some heat and give it a quick dry. And now it's time to cut. So I'm just going to use some really sharp fabric scissors and then cut around just the top here. If you didn't have, like I have a frame on there, you know, that I painted, so I kind of want that to be exposed. So I just want the top part of this sign to be covered. But if you wanted to wrap it all around, you could stretch it around a frame and staple it to the back, just like they build a canvas. So just trying to get as close as I can. I did have like a little bit of a line that you could see there on the top and the bottom to get that to fit on that long sign, which weren't the straightest, but I got it on there as close to straight as I could. Once I get that trimmed down, I decided I wanted it to be even a little bit stiffer, so I do go over it with more Mod Podge, securing that down. Kind of gave me more of a canvas feel to this. And less like a towel. I was trying to get less like a towel. So just going all over to secure that down. I am trying to touch up my line there a little bit, just because it kind of got cut off. Now, I didn't really like the cutting that I did around the sides, I thought, you know, it wasn't a perfect straight cut. Maybe if I would have cut it before. And so I am going to frame that out a little bit to cover that up. And I'm going to use some of the brown nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. This is just kind of the thinner one. And we're going to do a simple rope frame. If you were going to do this on one of the long Dollar Tree signs, you could always make yours look thicker by doing the same thing and doing a simple rope frame. This is going to kind of bring in the coastal vibe. And it's going to kind of finish off my seam here and just kind of make it look more like a finished product. So I kind of have a little groove there on the top of my frame. And so I just do a bead of hot glue there, and we're just going to wrap this rope all the way around. Super fun. And if you wanted to get creative on the corners, you totally could. You could tie knots on the corners or do whatever you wanted to kind of go with your like coastal feel. I wanted mine to be like nice straight corners, so I actually cut mine on this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side the same way. And then I have to do the top and the bottom. I'm going to cut 2 pieces to do that as well. That way all my corners are kind of uniform instead of just using one piece. So we get all of that framed out. You can't see any of my cutting that I did on there, but I thought it would be fun to add a little bit of detail to it. So I thought just adding like a pink Dollar Tree flower over one of the flowers on the sign would make it look really cool. And I always like to add a fun element. Now I kind of took it apart, so it kind of made the petals fall apart. So I kind of have to glue them on piece by piece, as you can see. But that's okay. Now I kind of needed something to replace the middle of the flower, and so I thought a seashell, just because, you know me. So I just take a little seashell from the Dollar Tree and I hot glue that to the middle of my flower, and it provided a little coastal touch to these spring flowers on this new canvas.
And definitely whimsical. I like to use some alternate products like that to kind of DIY this with sometime. You never really know what you're going to get, but I did enjoy this little thrift flip spring sign. I thought it was really fun to DIY.
Okay, I'm going to use one of these like little spring wall hangings from the Dollar Tree, a Dollar Tree wood round, and some of that contact paper from the Dollar Tree to kind of make a little spring sign. I thought we could cover the wood round with that contact paper from the Dollar Tree. I don't work with that a lot because I usually can't find like a style I like, but this one was like kind of a mint green with a white flower pattern on it. And I thought that kind of looked coastal and pretty for spring, and the colors are perfect. Very muted. Kind of a pastel mint green. So I'm going to cut out a piece of that contact paper. And simply peel and stick on the wood round. I keep trying to lose my voice. Maybe it's because my team won the Super Bowl yesterday. Go Chiefs! I may have screamed a little too loud. Maybe that's it. I'm so proud of them. And then I am using a sanding block to go around and give me a perfect cut. This contact paper from the Dollar Tree was very thin and pretty easy to cut with a sanding block. And that way you get a perfect cut. You don't have to worry about any of the wood showing through. And look at that beautiful background and very minimal effort. No painting involved. I just poke the holes back through it. And then I got to distress it a little bit. So I guess there is a little painting involved. I just do ivory working in one direction, giving me a little bit of a coastal vibe. Then I thought we could use that hanging sign I got from the Dollar Tree. These are really cute if you take them apart like this. Just pull the staples out of the back. You can kind of build your own thing. They have some really cute styles. And then you can get like a sign with words on it. This one's got like flowers as well. Live life in full bloom. The colors are nice and muted. I like kind of the mint green sign. Just kind of trying to alternate the colors. There's 2 yellow flowers, so I kind of alternate them across from each other to make it look a little bit more symmetrical. And then we're just going to start hot gluing these to our wood round. Super easy, and you don't even have to break out your Cricut. So I'm just going to go ahead and secure them all. I'm going to go ahead and use all these pieces. And this is a really easy little spring sign to put together. And I bet everyone's ready for spring. I am lucky enough to live in Florida, so our weather is already beautiful. But I remember we used to live in the Midwest in Missouri. We also used to live in Philadelphia, so I know about the winter and looking forward to spring for sure. Now to kind of break it up, I decided to distress all of those with the ivory as well, just to kind of make it look a little bit less like paper and a little bit more handcrafted, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe. I always stack up on baby wipes, sometimes from the Dollar Tree, sometimes from like Target has a really nice generic one. We can get a really large bag of them and they work great for crafting. Now I thought I would replace the hanger with a wood bead using some of this wood bead garland from the Dollar Tree. This is the raw wood ones, but you know, they have colored ones now as well. I'm really digging all of the wood beads they have at Dollar Tree. I used to have to order these on Amazon. So I am just cutting that down. You kind of have to remove the end one to be able to get the wood bead to move on those because they're kind of strung through. And then just tying that on the sign with the existing string that was already in there. And how easy was that? So fun, right? Now, this is me just wanting to add a little bit of a fun touch. I'm taking some of this burlap ribbon and I am just going to cut some little circles for the center of my flowers just because I thought it needed just a little bit more texture and it's going to kind of give me that coastal vibe as well. And I just attach all 3 of my little burlap circles with hot glue. Then I was super happy with it. And this is our super easy little spring sign. I think it's really cute and very unique. So lovely.
I really kind of like those colors together. It's really a nice contrast. We're going to finish it up today with an easy spring garland DIY.
I'm going to use some of these coasters for spring, and I'm going to do some simple little garlands for my wall. You can make a little pennant banner just with these coasters. They're so pretty, and I love the colors. So I picked up some pink ones and some like mint green ones. And I'm just going to simply string the coasters on twine. Really couldn't be any easier and just a fun way to add a little spring. This would be really cute to add to a shelf or the top of a cabinet. I'm just going to kind of string mine on my wall just to kind of make some fun for spring, but seriously, that's all I'm going to do is string it through that. They're cut so perfectly. They're kind of like a felt coaster, and they're kind of a little bit thick since they're a coaster, but they work really well for crafting as well. So that's all I'm going to do is string those on. I got 2 different shapes and 2 different colors, so I'm just going to kind of alternate that. I'm going to make 2 of these and just do 4 flowers on each. Honestly, I don't know if this is even considered a DIY because it's so easy. There we go. And this is how it looks hanging on my wall for spring.
Super easy, but still really pretty for a simple little spring garland. It's really great on like a coffee bar or something like that as well. Okay guys, you made it all the way to the final reveal of all of the spring Dollar Tree DIYs today. I did a total of 18 DIYs for you. Hopefully you got lots of crafting inspiration. Be sure to leave your favorite DIY in the description down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the final reveal.
Just close your eyes and and let them rest. I know it's hard to fall asleep, but do your best. 'Cause there's a place that I go to when I wanna hide from all the shades of blue. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to warm. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to all my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a tale. Just feel the wind. If you look close, you see the lilies dance and how they slowly grow. I'm counting years as they go by. Now all the lilies gone and days is brought to life. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to warm. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to all my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a tale. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to all my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a tale. I know you'll meet me here one day. Just close your eyes and let them rest. I know it's hard to fall asleep, but do your best. 'Cause there's a place that I go to when I wanna hide from all the shades of blue. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to warm. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to all my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a tale. Just feel the wind. If you look close, you see the lilies dance and how they slowly grow. I'm counting years as they go by. Now all the lilies gone and days is brought to life. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to all.
thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of my video. That always really helps my videos do better here on YouTube. And I also wanted to give a huge thank you to all of my Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting my channel. Every little bit helps keep this channel afloat. I want to give a huge thank you to Karen O'Haron, Pamela Bergeron, I Am Mojo Jojo, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Carrie R., Nancy Wunner, Julie Miller, Tammy Coates, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Whitney Harrison, Maria Grace, Donna Schreiner, and Sandy C. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you would like to join the membership, all you have to do is hit the join button underneath this video. And if you'd like more Dollar Tree DIYs here at Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy this video right here. Thanks for watching and happy crafting.